Well, hi guys. This is gonna be a small presentation about what we are doing at Blockfence. I'm head of security research, and we are basically unmasking connections in Web3. So what we have found is that information in blockchains holds lots of secrets, right? We have smart contracts, we have EOAs, we have transactions. But the most important things are the connections between them, right? Not when you see them apart. We are also seeing that traditional security methods like audits fall short. They are not enough. And we are looking for a new holistic approach where we can have more context when we investigate hacks, scams, and these kinds of incidents, right? So we think that it's very important to add a new layer, right? The Web2 layer, and to be able to analyze that. Basically, to add the front ends. Front ends are very underestimated, but are some of the attacks that are growing the most are attacks on front ends, right? Like phishing attacks or hijacking domains, for example. And there they take you to malicious smart contracts, and there you lose millions of dollars. So we think that it's very important to add that layer. In Web2, we have lots of information. We have DNS, IPs, API keys, multiple security protocols, and standards. And in Web3, we have lots of risks and problems, right? We, as I was saying, we interact with phishing websites, we transact with erroneous contracts and addresses, and it's very difficult for investigators and for devs to understand user interactions and how assets flow if they don't have information about where is that user coming from, right? Sometimes we don't know if a transaction is a real transaction or is a scam or whatever, because the information that we have on blockchain, for example, that you can see in Etherscan is not enough. So basically what we are doing is Web3 mapping. We are bridging the gap between Web2 and Web3, the front end of the blockchain. We analyze and we detect phishing websites and phishing campaigns sometimes before those campaigns start, right? We deobfuscate the code of those websites automatically. We discover all these rotating URLs. We relate to all of them. We connect these front ends to malicious smart contracts. Many times those contracts seem to be good contracts because they are verified and all that, but they are proxy contracts, so we also find those connections. And in this way, we are able to predict malicious campaigns, basically, and alert users, right? And we also think that it's very important to have this kind of information because we have more context, right? As I was saying, if we only rely on information from blockchain when analyzing this kind of campaigns, is not enough. So basically here is an example of our tool where we have, for example, one malicious smart contract and many different phishing websites that are all related to them. I don't know if you know, but nowadays there are lots of phishing as a service providers, right? Where you can go and pay for a service that will give you the contracts to be deployed on chain, and your role is just to phish everybody and take them to that website. You will be making the money from the scams, and the phishing as a service provider will be getting a 15% of all the scams that are being generated, right? So what we can find with this kind of tools is how perhaps different phishing campaigns that don't seem to have any relation have a relation, in fact, right? And with all this information, be able to track malicious actors easily. Because what we are seeing is that this is all related to incentives, and we see that most protocols and apps nowadays are not really focused in, like, let's say, there has been a phishing campaign that has targeted, I don't know, some protocol users, and they have lost millions. Nobody's after those bad actors, right? So if we start making if we start having better tools to track them, they will have a less incentive to do this kind of scams, right? So here we were seeing, for example, a malicious smart contract connected to different phishing websites, and how then we find that this contract is related to another phishing website related to all these different malicious smart contracts. And like this, we have lots of information. And lastly, to show you a little case that we worked with the people from Forta. It's about an NFT slip drop campaign that was targeting 500,000 addresses and had 20K victims and 32 millions were lost. Basically, how a slip drop campaign works. First, you have like the lure, like you have a deceptive NFT airdrop that you get to your address. That NFT seems to come from a legitimate source, right? Because of taking advantage of the implementation of the ERC token standards. In this airdrop, you have information here in the description about a website you should visit to get more benefits. When you get to the website, this is a fake website, obviously, but something that we have seen lately is that these groups are becoming more and more sophisticated, and most of the times, phishing websites and scam websites seem to be far more authentic than real projects, right? So you get here, you connect your wallet, and when you connect your wallet, you're basically, this code will analyze what assets you have, will check if your address is in some list. In fact, they have a blacklist of security researchers or from some wallets that they don't wanna touch. They will check what you have in your wallet, and depending on that, we'll ask you for some approvals with off-chain approvals, and after that, you are done, basically. What evasion techniques they use, as we were saying, they use non-standard proxy patterns and multiple contracts, right? And in the off-chain world, they are rotating URLs and websites all the time, right? So you may see the same phishing campaign, for example, targeting MetaMask users with 35 different URLs. They have anti-debug, they detect bots, they try to stop all that. And what they also do is perhaps with the same contracts, they target multiple user groups and multiple, let's say, user groups, for example, Bored Apes or OpenSea users or Uniswap LPs, and well, that's what we are connecting. And here is an example of something we found. These are all different phishing websites, and there we can see how all those phishing websites connect to the same contracts and deployers. And here, basically combining, we analyze smart contracts code, and we also analyze bytecode. We get signatures from there, and we check for similarity. We also check for deployment patterns, and in that way, we are able to connect the whole scam networks, right? Here, for example, we can see how we have the deployers on red of the contracts. Then we have on green the proxy contracts, right? And what the scammers try to do is to make them seem to be isolated, but then we could find, thanks to connecting all this information, that they were all connected to these blue dots that are the implementation contracts, right? And we could find how campaigns that seem to be from different groups were all basically related. So this is the approach that we're having. We think that this kind of mapping and adding the Web 2 layer information to the Web 3 layer is essential to investigators and to be able to find this, to discover these campaigns faster. Now we have like two approaches. We have the B2B approach, that is giving this tool to investigators, right, and to security researchers. And we also give all this information in an API that can be consumed by any exchange or any app. And we also have a Chrome extension and a MetaMask snap that allows users to check if the website they are interacting with is a real website or is a phishing one. And if the contracts they're interacting with are also the real contracts or are phishing contracts. So well, that's what we are doing. That's how we want to add our work to making a little better the security of the ecosystem, that we think that it's a very complicated issue nowadays. And well, any opinion that you have on this, or what you think is valuable from this, or where do you think that we should be putting more focus, will be very valuable. Thank you. Well, we have both. We have both. Now the focus of the company is more on the mapping tool for researchers and for investigators. But we also have the API. So, for example, any wallet or any exchange can integrate it and check for any transaction before it's done. And I forgot to say that we also have integrations, for example, with Forta or with GoPlus. So we take data from, and we will have more integrations from different data providers. So when we analyze something, perhaps one provider can not see something, but another one can. So yeah, we have both approaches. Yeah, totally. Well, totally. Yeah, in fact, something that I perhaps see that will be interesting for the future is another one more layer, and saying, okay, the user came from this phishing website, but to also know how did he got to that phishing website, right? From this mailing campaign from MailChimp, or from this post in Twitter from this user, or from this Discord or Telegram message from this other user, and to have the whole path. Because when you have the whole path, you also have more information to be able to get to these organizations, right? Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, guys.